Hey, everybody out there in podcast land. Welcome to episode 119 of eBay the Right Way. My guest today is Lisa in Maryland. Today's date is June 28th, 2023. The only announcement this week is that through the magic of technology and being able to post content in advance, as you listen to this, I will be relaxing on the beach, taking a much-needed vacation. I haven't had a vacation in over 2 years. One of the many reasons I moved to Greenville was for its proximity to the coast, only 3 to 4 hours to the beach. And it doesn't hurt to have a friend who lives at the beach who asks you to come visit. That is the cherry on top of the whole deal. So while you are listening to this, I am listening to this. Now that everyone is sufficiently relaxed, let's hear from Lisa.
Welcome back, listeners. Today I have a friend who has been we're friends in life too, not just eBay. But we met back in 2009 when I was helping you with your eBay business.
That's correct.
Lisa is located where?
Easton, Maryland.
Okay. And you said that's on the coast?
It's on the eastern shore. It's not where I live, is between where I used to live and the beach, but there's a lot of water around me. It's on the water side of Maryland. There's the mountainside and the water side.
So is there a lot of good seafood there?
Oh, fantastic. The best crabs you'll ever eat in your life.
Because you have been on my list for years of, I want to do like little road trips and hit different cities where I know people, eBay friends live, and like actually meet you in person.
Right.
And enjoy whatever your town has to offer. So
you should do that.
That may be coming in the next couple of years now that I'm situated.
Right.
And, I prefer to rent a car and just go wherever I want to go.
Sounds good to me.
And then, you want to stay longer and bring my laptop and just do my work. So that's kind of on the horizon for the next couple of years is doing some of these road trips, because
that'd be great.
Have a lot of eBay friends that live up your way.
Oh, you do? I know some. Yeah.
Like Eileen Cole is in Annapolis,
and
like that's not too far from you. So anyway, I've already hijacked the conversation.
Okay.
So yeah, we met back in 2009 when you were a coaching client, and I saw you kind of come and go from the Facebook group, and then I saw your name pop up, and I'm like, oh, she's back.
Yeah, I kind of, I've been selling on eBay all these years, but I cut back at times because of life, and it's the best way I can say it. Yes. But I'm never going to stop. It's just something that's helped me through some tough times, financially, and I just enjoy it. It's something I love. So
when did you start eBay?
In 1998, the year that it was founded.
Okay. What was the event that caused you to jump in and try this?
Well, I was my sister-in-law at the time. We were out to dinner one night, the four of us, my husband and her husband, and she and I. And she said, Lisa, I think this is something you would like. And I don't even know why she said that. She just said, have you heard of this eBay thing? And I said, no, what is that? And she explained it to me, and I was intrigued immediately. I guess she knew me better than I thought. But so anyway, after that conversation, it wasn't more than a few days later, I checked it out, made an account, and the first thing that I sold was a giant party light candle. I don't know if anybody remembers their gigantic candles. And I had it sitting around my house forever, and I knew I would never burn it. And at that time, just about anything sold on eBay because it was so new. So I sold it, but I lost money on it because of shipping, because I was a newbie. But it was my first lesson. I learned quickly. It wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't my livelihood, but it gave me the fever. It certainly did. It gave me the fever. And that's, and the rest is history. I've been selling since 1998. And I love it. It's my, it's not my full-time job. I would like it to be, but life hasn't allowed that. But it definitely is my escape from life, to a degree.
And I love those first sale stories because that's the proof that it works.
Absolutely.
Yes, you can just take pictures of this thing. And maybe back then you didn't even have pictures.
We did have pictures, but.
Okay. So you can just take pictures of this thing and put it on the internet and somebody will buy it and you can just mail it to them. And this works.
Yeah, you get money.
I do this on purpose all the time.
That's what it was. I was amazed that it worked. I really thought, oh, sure, I'm going to put this candle up here. There's probably, 15 million of these online, and it won't sell. And it sold in a short period of time, too. So that's what made it so exciting for me.
Right.
It's like, oh, this could be something. And it ended up being something several times in my life that I picked up some niches because, it changes all the time as to what's popular and what sells.
And I know you've been dabbling on different sites.
Mm-hmm.
So can you take us through the history of what sites you have sold on and your experience on those?
Sure. I sold on Amazon kind of at the same time as eBay, maybe a little after eBay, but I thought, oh, there's something else, so, and I just sold books there. And I think at that time, that's pretty much all you could really sell.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't make me a lot of money, but it was a nice little extra for a while. But then it became, to me, it just didn't work anymore for me. So I just went back straight to eBay, back to doing eBay only. But then at some point I had so many jewelry supplies and I had been making jewelry just kind of on the side, not selling it anywhere or anything. I had one show and, those are frustrating after you've been selling on eBay. Can't sell anything at a show. I could, it's so different. So I decided, well, I have all these supplies. So I sold the supplies on Etsy.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah. And it did okay. It helped me get rid of a lot. It still, again, wasn't anywhere near the eBay money, but it was still good.
Okay.
It was something else. So I've dabbled in Amazon and Etsy.
So do you still do the jewelry?
Not really. I mean, if I need a pair of earrings, I can throw one together real quick, but nothing full time. I get into all other kinds of crafts. I've got a Cricut. I do embroidery, cross stitch. I think I can have time to do everything, but we find that we don't.
Well, yeah, we were talking about that. It's just time is limited.
Mm-hmm.
And the older you get, the faster time goes by.
You don't need to tell me that.
I say this every day. I'm like, how is it 8:00 already? Like, I have so much more I want to do today, and then just kind of fizzle out at night.
Yeah.
Because this business really is unlimited.
It is unlimited.
It's only limited by, three things: time, space,
right,
and money buying inventory.
Right.
You can circumvent that sometimes if you get stuff free, like some other guests have talked about trash picking and, Lisa who walks her dog in the desert looking for things.
Oh my goodness. That's
another Lisa. She's in Arizona. So
okay.
Just, and Zach, who's the garbage man philosopher that just finds things everywhere but really, I think time is the biggest factor for everybody.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you can find stuff everywhere and you can figure out how to store it. You can always increase your storage. But, time is, I wish I could list 50 things a day, but I can't.
No. And I do too. I mean, weekends are usually when I do most of my listing. I do some at night, but most times I'm tired from my regular job, you know,
Okay.
and yeah, so.
And yeah, we kind of touched on that before we started recording.
Yes.
What is your regular job?
My job is I work for a trucking broker. I am in compliance and I am responsible. I'm like the police. We check out all these trucking companies and make sure they have the proper insurance and make sure that they're not doing anything wrong. We look at like 3 or 4 different websites when we're vetting a carrier to see if they have any issues. And if they're good, we turn them on so that our carrier sales reps can use them to put on loads for their customers. So it's kind of like you have a customer like, what can I think of, like a company that makes bread or something like that, and they want to get their bread to their customers. So we we vet the carriers that the carrier sales reps want to be able to put on loads for this customer, and they want to get the best, you know, they want to get the most from the customer and pay the carrier the least. So it's a lot about negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
And also they have to do a good job or else that customer is not going to use you again or be very upset, you know. So it's a tough business. I just had my 5-year anniversary there.
Okay.
And it's interesting. It can be, you know, monotonous at times. That's why eBay is good for me. Not much into monotony, but again, life has made me have to do this. So.
And you said that you've been working at home since COVID.
Since COVID, yes.
So you've got that at home work, and then eBay is at home work, and you live alone?
I do.
Yeah. So it can really suck you in when you live alone. It's just,
well, there's no way to complain that you're not paying attention to them.
Well, and you know, there's not as many interruptions, and
right.
You work for longer. And me at this point, I don't even have a pet, which I kind of like after my whole entire life having them.
Right.
4 of them got put down in 4 years.
Oh, that's.
I just don't want to do that again. My soul is all used up. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, mine is too. In other ways, I had pets. Well, I had pets with my second husband that I had to leave behind because they were together, and I was moving to an apartment. So it wasn't anything. I didn't want to separate them. It was much harder than leaving my husband.
Yeah, I know. And one of the perks of not having a pet and working at home on your own schedule is waking up naturally.
Mm-hmm.
No alarm. No cat jumping on you. No dog barking at you.
That's true. And that's true. And it's
I really like the peacefulness of it. And trust me, it's not that I don't like animals, because I did lots of jobs with the Humane Society and spay neuter clinics and adoptions. And I've had pets my entire life, usually more than one at a time.
Right.
And it's just, maybe I'm taking a break. I enjoy other people's pets.
Yeah, me too. And I love my 2 I had 2 Jack Russells that were amazing and missed them very much. But I wanted, when I came here and I started over, I didn't want to have to worry about leaving the dog home or,
right.
Did whatever I wanted. And I needed that at the time.
So yeah, we're kind of in the same situation there, but it is isolating to work by yourself, and you're doing 2 jobs by yourself. So, so what do you do for fun? Do you go out thrifting?
Yes, I do that. I go thrifting a lot. I don't always buy anything. I just enjoy it. The hunt, right. I can't overbuy, because I'm not doing this full time and all, but it's still fun. That's one thing keeps me busy. And I like to go out to dinner and with friends. And I'm like, I binge watch a lot of TV, in the evenings.
Well, at one point you were working at a restaurant.
Yeah, when I first moved here, I did my first waitressing job at 51, and it was so much fun, and I loved it, and people loved me. I had customers, I had regulars. It just made me feel so good, because when I came over to the Eastern Shore, I really didn't know what the job market was going to be like, and I just wanted to, I tried to get an office job, and they were turning me down because I had too much experience, because they didn't want to offer me money that would be insulting. It was a
Right.
different.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I got to get a job. I mean, I had some money, but I needed to get a job too. And I'd gone on a blind date, and this guy had taken me to this restaurant in downtown St. Michael's, which is, if you come here, that's where you want to go.
Okay.
And it's a dive bar, but it's the center of the town.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to know the people there, and the guy that I dated, he's still my friend to this day. We just really got along as friends. And I told him I got to find a job. So he called the owner, who he's known for years because he's lived here forever, and told them about me. And so they hired me, and I was the first non-local that ever got hired there.
Okay.
So at first it wasn't easy because people here they don't like non-locals at first. They're very reticent about it. And
Okay.
Eventually, they warmed up to me and found out I could do it. And it was a lot of fun. And I didn't know one person anywhere. And I knew more people in St. Michael's than some people that lived in St. Michael's did, because I worked at the restaurant, and I would run into friends.
All those people in the restaurant.
Yep. And then I would actually, because it's not very far from where I used to live, because this is the beach area, and we used to always go to the beach area when we were growing up. And I ran into friends from high school that had bought houses in St. Michael's, second homes, and that we hadn't seen each other since high school. And there I was waiting on them. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Well, I'm glad you had a good experience, because waitressing, serving is a sometimes thankless job.
It is well, that's what I was told. And I was really worried about it. And my mom was a waitress when she was very young. So she discouraged me my whole life from being a waitress. And she was gone when I got this job, which probably is better, because she probably wouldn't have been very happy. But anyway, I found out that the customers aren't the problem. The people you work with are. It was, especially maybe in a small town, because I was definitely not given any breaks, if you know what I mean. I had to prove myself, but the customers were amazing, and they love me. And that's the important part, because they're the ones paying you. So it all works.
Well, and so many customers don't realize, don't yell at the server.
No.
They didn't make the food. They're just bringing it to you. And of course, if you get it wrong, then there's that. But, you witness this all the time in restaurants, people that just lose it. They just come unglued because you brought them fish instead of chicken. And I'm like, that's like the easiest thing in life to fix is.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. And that was the thing. I mean, I had very few ugly customers, but unfortunately, they ruined your whole day. One can ruin your whole day, even if everybody else is great. Mm-hmm. And that was the hardest part, And if it was a kitchen problem or a mistake I made, we're human. when we were busy, I was waiting on 6-7 tables at a time. I never waitressed before. So I learned how really hard that is. You don't realize when you haven't been a waitress.
And these servers that don't even write it down, they just can remember. And I could never do that. I can't remember what you told me 5 minutes ago sometimes.
I understand. And I was 51, so there was no doubt I had to write everything down. And we did it, it was the old way where we wrote them down and brought it to the kitchen, and then they got the computerized. And once I learned it was okay, but I liked writing it down and just taking it to the kitchen more than the computer.
Yeah.
But, because if you hit a button wrong in there, the stuff comes up wrong. Writing something down, you usually write it correctly. The kitchen might read it wrong, but it's 6 one, half dozen another. But it was a lot of fun, and I got to know so many people, which was wonderful.
And I remembered that you enjoyed that job, and it was a seafood place, right?
No, it was I worked at 3 restaurants. That was the one I worked at the longest, and I worked at a place called Town Dock, which is a fancier place. But I really missed the dive bar because something was always going on in there, and it was always busy, and I made a lot of money. The other restaurant, they didn't have the same turnover, of customers. So.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, that sums up your food service
world
occupations. Now, what kind of profession did you do before you found eBay?
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hi, I'm Leslie. I help women diagnosed with a medical condition find their own unique path to healing. I believe that you hold the most powerful self-healing ability, and your body's journey to vitality, wholeness, and wellness is uniquely yours. So, what if there is another person in the world who can offer their expertise or set of beliefs, techniques, or tools that can unlock another key piece of your healing story? I want to share their knowledge as well as the stories of others who, just like you, are living with and managing dis-ease in the body. Join me on this journey of exploring sickness and healing on the Sick and Seeking podcast.
Before I found eBay, I was an IT. Well, at first I was a marketing manager for a publishing company in Rockville, Maryland.
Okay.
And then I applied for and got a marketing manager job. And I did all of this was back before everything was online and mailing. So I was in charge of doing mailings and creating our brochures for our conferences and our handbooks, working with the art department. And then also all of our websites, I worked, made things, wrote the copy and things like that for the websites. And then when I was an IT business analyst, I was the go-between the people. We had like a bunch of companies, like it was a big umbrella bunch over a bunch of little companies. And I was the go-between the managers of those companies and the IT guys, because they don't mesh well together. So they need that person in between. Like they tell me what they want. I go to IT and tell them what they want. And I knew enough technically, I wasn't super technical, that I could tell them what they want. And then I would bring it back to the stakeholder, and the stakeholder would say, well, I don't like the way this works. And I'll say, okay, well, because if you put them together in a room, it's just going to be a big argument.
Right.
It's in a relationship thing. So that's what I was. I was a go-between. I wrote the requirements for what they wanted, and I tested, the websites and things like that, and did the mailings. It was a lot of fun. I loved that job. That was the best job that I ever had, not just the job at the company.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you've done a lot of different things, and I like to get a little background on my guests because not everybody has something that applies to eBay. They just jump in and start doing it. So let's get on to the things you sold part of the podcast. Can you talk about some interesting or high dollar sales you've had?
Yeah, actually, my highest dollar sale since I've lived here, and probably ever, I was in a little thrift shop here on the Eastern Shore and walking around, and I saw this little ceramic Asian child sitting on a pillow. And it looked good. You know what I mean? And at that time I couldn't find, I looked on my phone and saw something made by those people that was way bigger, and it was sold for quite a bit. So it was $5.95. So I said, I'm getting it. I can't imagine that I lose on this just from what I'd seen. And I got it, and I sold it twice. The first time I sold it to somebody this was right at COVID, I think, or something, but I sold it for $275.
Very good.
That's my best one ever. I mean, if I was a regular seller, I'm sure I'd have higher ones, but because I don't do it every single day, all day, but I was thrilled. And anyway, and the person backed out because they were afraid it wouldn't make it because of COVID, and they were very nice about it. So I said, okay, I get it. So I put it back up, and it sold like a half hour later. So I might have priced it a little low, but it was such a great turnover, quick turnover. It didn't stay up very long. So
was it a specific brand, or was it just, did it say anything on the bottom?
Yeah, it did. And whatever it was like the artist or and I can't remember right now. I wish I'd written that down, but anyway, it was somebody that was very popular. And obviously both of my sales were in overseas, so my guess is more popular over there, possibly. Mm-hmm. But I knew it was something. And like I said, even if I sold it for $15, I wasn't going to lose, so You know how that is. It's just you go for it. And then not too long ago, I sold a tie but I paid $1 for it at a thrift shop, and I sold it for $100 in about 2-3 days.
Excellent.
And that actually, no, 7 days, because I did it on auction with an auction just to be safe.
What did it look like?
But it was Christmas. It was a Christmas tie. So it had a red background and had trees all over it. And then between the trees, it had like deer, but not reindeer. It was something different. And it was amazing. I was just so happy. It's just
did you buy it because of the brand or because of the pattern?
I bought it because of the brand, and I was concerned about the pattern because it was so weird. But then sometimes that's a big seller too. But I thought for $1, again, those are the kind of things I love to buy. Many times when I haven't looked things up and I buy stuff and pay $5 or more for, they don't sell. And I got, I keep telling myself, don't do that anymore. Make sure you check. Don't bring it home.
Right.
But sometimes we do.
There's that. And then there's that other voice that says, but you could make money. You could make a lot of money on this.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll at least make your money back.
Right.
And you have these two conversations going on in your head.
Yeah. And we all have,
it's not really a risk unless it's really expensive. But even if it's $100 and you can sell it for $500,
right,
then if you can afford to do that,
mm-hmm.
that's really a risk.
Right.
You have to weigh out your risk versus reward.
Exactly.
Which is often unknown.
Well, that's true. That's true.
So, and ties are great to sell. They're so easy to ship.
They're easy to ship. They're easy to take pictures of. They're easy, and men mostly buy them, and men are easier to please than women, I believe, and that kind of thing.
Right.
I think they're quicker to buy. They don't worry about every little thing.
Well, and last week, I think I was rethinking when I was out treasure hunting. It's like, do I want to even keep doing ties? Because I hadn't sold any in a while. And the next day I sold 2.
Isn't it weird?
One was, it's called Tabor, Tabor Academy in Massachusetts. It's a private school. And it was a Vineyard Vines tie with their logo on it and a new tag. And it was at Goodwill for like 50 cents. And I was like, this is so specialized.
Mm-hmm.
There weren't any online anywhere. So I've had it out there for 6 months and it finally sold. I took an offer of $50.
Hey,
I feel like it's going to be a graduation gift.
Right.
Because we're in early June and it was so specific to that school.
Right.
Or maybe not. Maybe a professor's going to wear it. I don't know. But I was thinking, how did this tie from a school in Massachusetts get down here to South Carolina? And it's still brand new. Somebody's going to want this eventually.
Exactly. It's so interesting what things sell. I've got one more to share. And again, there's really not an artist for this, but this is duck country over here. So I was at the Goodwill here, and they were pottery plates made from pottery, and they were hand painted ducks, and they were dinner plates, and they weighed a ton. And Goodwill had like 8 of them, and they were $1 a piece. And I thought, I didn't even look these up. I said, there's something that tells me that these are really going to sell. So I think I bought 2 or 3, and I sold them to one guy for like $90 for the 3 of them. And so I ran back to Goodwill and they were still there, and I bought them all, and I sold them all for between $30 to $40 a piece. And I think all but one sold to the same guy. And it was something he collected. And I will have to tell about nice customers. What happened was there was some issues with shipping at that time. And it was Christmas time, and there was something wrong going on with shipping. And 2 of them that I'd sent to him, he didn't get. And he had bought so many. And I told him, look, I'm going to refund you. I'm sorry about that. If you happen to get them, let me know. And he got back to me the next day, and he says, he gave me my money back. And he gave me my money back and says, nope, you've been great. You've got them all to me quickly, and they'll probably show up eventually, but I'm not accepting your refund. And I was
Oh,
just,
wow.
no, he said, and that's what I love is I've had a few really nice people like that, and it's it's heartwarming in a way. You can't believe they did this. I mean, I was going to argue back with him. I'm like, well, no, if he did this and he just wanted to do it. So I believe, if I remember correctly, he did end up getting them, but he wasn't worried about it, is what he told me. But he didn't. I think he sent me an email and said, I got them, and I felt better.
We'll be back after a quick break.
No matter what size your business is or what it does, AppPoint helps you modernize your digital workplace across cloud collaboration platforms. AppPoint provides the most advanced platform to optimize SaaS operations and secure collaboration. Over 17,000 customers trust AppPoint solutions to rapidly reduce costs, improve productivity, and protect their data with the AppPoint Confidence Platform. Request a personalized demo today at apppoint.com.
Yeah, I love those customer stories where they're happy and you found something they've been looking for.
Exactly.
And so pretty much every item you touch, you're thinking, who's looking for this?
Mm-hmm.
Is somebody waiting for this to go online? Do they have an alert set up, or do they just check in every week or so looking for these things? And then when they leave the feedback, oh, I've been looking for this forever. Thank you for offering it. And it's just like it's gone full circle.
Oh yeah, I think eBay's
part of that.
eBay's amazing. It's hung tough all these years. I mean, it's still great, which is really hard because Etsy's struggling, and they've made it work. And I'm just so impressed. And I think they've done a good job under with something that big, and made it work. And people still go every single day. I mean, we all buy on eBay. I buy on eBay, I mean,
I look there first.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I go because we know what to look for. We know how to sort and we know how to do all the little tricks.
Save searches so that you are notified when
right
is listed. And people ask me why I don't sell on other sites. And I have dabbled in other sites just to see, okay, what is this all about? What is this? But eBay has that staying power and they are the biggest. Well, it depends on how you look at it. Amazon probably has more customers, but for the hard to find or vintage or unusual, that's why I came back to eBay 100%. I think it was like 2014. I got off Amazon. It was just too competitive and I lost
you couldn't make
money.
You couldn't make money on there.
I couldn't sell. And thought, I'm going to focus on items that are in short supply because economics is on your side when you're selling something that's hard to find or that they don't make anymore.
Yeah, those are big. I've seen so many cleaning products that are so good. I haven't really found a lot of that, but I've seen them, where somebody could sell something that they have a special broom or floor cleaner that they can't get anymore that attaches to this thing that they have, and that stuff sells for like ridiculous amount of money because people
I don't
want to use it. They want it. I guess they're in love with that piece of equipment and they can't find it anywhere else.
Well, I mean, eventually they're going to be zero available.
Right. But they're hanging in there.
A few years ago, I found this, I think it was called Method laundry detergent.
That's Target.
It's like cone shaped.
Yeah, that's Target brand.
Yes.
And
they were at Goodwill. I think there was 10 of them and they were $3 each. And I looked it up and my eyeballs almost popped out of my head because it's a discontinued scent.
Always.
Long story short, I ended up selling all of them to someone 20 miles from me. She wanted to do local pickup, but we just couldn't get it coordinated. She was too busy and couldn't meet and all that stuff. And I sold all of them for $125.
Wow.
And she was thrilled. And I thought, eventually this is going to run out. What's she going to do then?
I know. I guess they just hang tough because, eBay's eBay is the reason that people have been able to do that. There was nothing prior to eBay that you could find. So you just have to give up on that and try another brand or buy a new vacuum because they don't make the bags for it anymore. I mean, that's another place where you can make money on vacuum bags and stuff like that. So it's really done a lot for people, as a company.
Yeah, you can find anything you want. And I think I mentioned this somewhere along the way. When I was a teenager, my mom sold Avon. So I sold it to my friends at school and I didn't make money. I got free stuff.
Right. I did Avon for a while too.
I think everybody did at some point.
Yeah, right.
But it was
right.
like some of the fragrances, you can't find them anymore. So I did buy some of my favorites. This was probably, I don't know, 2020 or something like that. And so now you can't sell partially used fragrances, which really cuts down on what's available.
Sure.
For people to buy, because some just want that fragrance just to smell it. Like they're not going to use it. They just like the nostalgia.
I was going to say it brings back memories because the perfume my mom wore, that's how it is for me. I can smell it on somebody in a store and I think of my mom. So I get that.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially if you've lost a loved one and their favorite scent, it's very comforting. It's a physical thing that you can experience when someone's gone. Like my grandmother wore Chanel No. 5. Every time I smell that somewhere, I think of her.
Right.
And
it is. Smells are amazing.
I do have a little container of that just to open it up, smell it every now and then, thinking of my grandma.
Yeah, it's heartwarming. It really is. So it's
a physical thing that it's like in both worlds kind of thing. But so fragrances are fun, but it's a bummer that I see them all the time, partially used, and maybe I'll buy it for myself, but you can't sell it on eBay anymore if it's used.
Do you think they're concerned that somebody's going to put something else in the bottle and, that will hurt somebody? I mean,
it's coming from the FDA. It's not eBay. And all sites are being transitioned to this where it's not allowed because of, I feel like if it's a spray, what can be wrong?
Right.
I feel like if it's just the kind you take the top off and dab it on, and definitely lotions and makeup and all of that, if it can be opened and tampered with, then that's a concern.
Right.
So maybe at some point they'll change it back to allowing the sprays, because I don't know how that could be contaminated. I guess you can figure out how to take the sprayer off and do something to it, but do people not have more to do than tamper with?
Well, it seems like they don't a lot of the time. There's all kinds of things that happen that you can't believe happen, anymore in this world. It's crazy. The world's gone crazy.
Okay. What else is on your list of things that you've sold?
I did find that when Avon has changed its whole catalog, I don't like Avon anymore. I don't like what they sell anymore. And I'm guessing I'm not alone, because I used to love one of their mascaras and I used to love this and that. So I found some Avon that I was able to sell that was new, that was discontinued. So that's another, quick turn, nice profit, not hundreds of dollars, but enough to make it worthwhile.
I know an Avon it can go either way. Some of it is worth nothing. And then other things, what comes to mind is that advent calendar. That's highly sought after. I think it's felt. And, for December, you move the numbers around or whatever.
Right.
That's highly sought after.
I think I did see that, but you're right. You have to be careful.
And then some of those decanters that are a shape, like it's a car or it's a flower, some of those are worth nothing.
I tried a few of those and found that out quickly. Yeah. Just thought, because I know at one time they were highly collectible, but I missed that boat or that window. And when I bought it, it's like they wouldn't even get looked at.
There's so many different lines of Disney. You can't just say, I'm going to sell anything Disney. No, because Disney Parks is the higher end, more expensive. And then there's Disney Store. And then there's just Walmart Disney stuff, which can be valuable if it's old enough.
Right.
So there really is, you really have to be a detective.
Oh, it is. It's total detective. I mean, it changes the whole way I shop anywhere. It's kind of weird. Selling on eBay does that. It's just kind of a different way of looking at things.
Right.
I got a really good deal at Kohl's on some the stretchy running shorts.
Uh-huh.
And they were like, by the time all their discounts, I didn't get them for me, but they were real pretty turquoise with like a little rainbow on the side. And they were really nice. They were women's large, which large and above is usually best. And so I paid like $3 or $4 for them. And I thought I started them high, like 35. And I ended up selling them for like 12, because they were up forever. And I finally I brought down the price. And it's just, you don't know, because they were a brand name, which again, once you turn 60, you stop remembering anything, just a heads up. But they were one of the top, one of those top brands for, that kind of athletic wear. And I was shocked, I was happy to get rid of them. You get to a point you're tired of looking at something. It's like, that was my mistake. Let me get this out the door and be done with it.
But it's a sale.
Champion, by the way, it was Champion.
Oh yeah. And there's a thing going on with Champion where the older vintage stuff is now valuable.
That must have been the problem, because these were new. You know what I mean? Just a closeout at Kohl's, but they were
There's
new.
something called reverse weave.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know what that is.
No,
it's on my list of things to investigate. I heard this.
Okay.
Going on something, a group or whatever. Yeah. And that's what the 20-somethings are into, is the vintage Champion.
Reverse weave.
And a 20-something told me this and knew nothing more about it other than, my friends are wearing that.
Yeah, apparently they're not wearing the modern new stuff, because I thought these shorts would fly, off out of my store. I was like, oh man. But there's many of those. We've all had them. Like, oh, nope.
So what are your go-to places for finding inventory?
Well, I go to Goodwill. It's not my top favorite. And the Goodwill store here in Easton is, it's not so great, but I have one that's like 15 miles one way and one that's 20 miles the other. So I go to those three. We have a few church thrift shops here that are really good. And we also have St. Vincent de Paul. Have you ever heard of that?
Yes.
That one's a really good one, because they basically give it away just to make money to help the poor. So
really,
most of their stuff is way low priced. I've had, some good buys there, although I'm not able to remember them all, but yeah.
Well, and that's a good point. I used to hit one in Georgia, and their stuff was too expensive. They marked everything up. So I think it's manager discretion.
Yep. Of
what the prices are. How are your Goodwill prices in that area?
They're not good here in Easton. It's the trashiest, and this is like semi-wealthy area, town. You have both, you have the me's and you have the ones below me, and then you have very rich people, a lot of them. And it's the most nasty store. It's not kept up, which I hate. I take wipes with me after I get out of there. That's how bad it is. And I found those plates there. So, and I found a few other things that were good, but not a whole lot. And their prices are way high. Now, I just noticed recently, they look like they're under new managers. It's cleaned up a little more and the prices are definitely better. So, because I was like going to say, they would have stuff out there from Dollar Tree, and they price it at $3, and it's like, really, come on, you need somebody who in management who knows this, what I mean, in order to price it. I used to laugh. I used to throw it down and laugh. You'd be kidding me.
Well, they do that with things with a Walmart tag. You might have a $9.97 tag from Walmart, and they've got it priced at $15 or something.
I know.
Why would you buy it there for more than you could get it at Walmart?
Yeah, and that's what I mean. And Target, they had a lot of Target stuff because Target donates, and they leave the Target price tag on there and they price above it. And I'm like, it was on sale at Target because they couldn't get rid of it. And now you're selling it for more.
Well, and I've seen that in one of the thrift store chains here in Greenville, not Goodwill, but it's a different one. And they're getting a lot of donations from Target, stuff new with tags. So they've got, their prices are based on like swimwear. New with tag is going to be $10, and it's Target tags. You know, it's not anything, it's not Miracle Suit. It's not LL Bean. It's not anything great.
Right.
And they just have their pricing structure based on this new with tag stuff they're getting from Target. And it's very confusing, but they have it all in a separate section so that it's like their boutique section of stuff. But I'm over here looking at the swimwear, the used stuff that's $3 and finding LL Bean and Magic Suit and Longitude and all those brands you can sell for $25 and up. And I especially love Dollar Day there because I've changed my whole approach to what I pick. It's like, go on that Dollar Day because you might find something you wouldn't sell if it was $5, but if it's $1 and it's an easy list,
right?
You know, you're going to walk away with $15, and that's easy to do. And some days that's all you get are those. $15, $20
We
sales,
don't have dollar days.
You get enough of them, then it adds up.
We don't have dollar days in our Goodwill.
Okay.
I wish we did.
This isn't Goodwill.
Oh, I'm sorry. You were talking about it.
It's called Miracle Hill.
Oh, Miracle. That's right.
Church ministry. I think they're just in South Carolina, but
a lot of the church thrift shops do sell cheap. They don't play that game because all they're trying to do is make money to help the poor. And that's, Goodwill kind of says they help people with jobs, but the CEO or whatever, he's a millionaire. It just
we're not going to go down that road. This is a family-friendly podcast, and I might let a few F-bombs slip on that.
Okay, so what I'm glad you can edit, but you know what I'm saying.
Oh, I know. I'm going to keep this in here because people feel the same way. But if it's all we've got, it's all we've got. Do you have the bins?
We'll be back after a quick break.
You own a small business, and it ain't easy. And it may be going okay. Or you could be stuck and barely making ends meet. It's about time for a pivot. Welcome to Small Business Pivots. It's time for you to generate some cash, some real cash. How does $1 million sound? Only 9% of small businesses earn over $1 million annually. But your host is a business coach and an entrepreneur. And we're going to talk to the small business owners who've done the $1 million and more.
No, we don't have the bins. I read about them on your emails all the time. And I'm like, I wish we had those. Now, the only thing they have here is a 30% off on Wednesdays for seniors. So I get to jump on that. And that's a good deal because their prices have gone down some. So I like to get there. But I sometimes feel like they take stuff out of the store for those days. I really are, just in the back because it doesn't seem as good as stuff on the 30% off day. I could be wrong, but I don't think so because I'm there enough to realize like this looks like more of their junky stuff than usual.
Well, and I'm on the fence with Senior Day because if you go on non-Senior Day, it's not as crowded. I've been on Senior Day and there's no shopping carts left. And you can't even go down the aisles because this is a social event and it's the same people every week and they kind of hang out there and chat and stuff. And then the line to check out is forever.
Well, I get you. Yeah.
A lot of them buy glassware or breakables and it takes time to wrap all that up. So I'm like, it's all about time. How much time? But then I went the other day on a non-Senior Day and there's only 2 other people in the store. And I found such great stuff. And I think maybe you're onto something there with they hold back on things they know they can get regular price for.
Exactly.
On a non-Senior Day. I do it sometimes if I'm out and about, I'll just drop in and see what I can come up with. So I don't hate it. I'm not averse to it, but
I see what you're saying. I mean, usually when I go, it's in the evening because they're open till 8, and it's not as busy, but it's probably well picked over too then, because they have the crowds earlier in the day, I think, for the senior day, because a lot of seniors
and
don't
on that
work.
point, I'm not buying the same things the senior day shoppers are buying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking for the same things because a lot of them are grandparents and they're buying toys and children's clothing and stuff like that. That's, I don't really look at toys. I look at plush, but I don't really.
I've gotten more into plush from listening to your sellers. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, just because I
okay.
really didn't know much about it. And I've had a couple of somewhat good sales, nothing off the charts like some people have had, but still I look much more now at plush.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the day I find that giant Simba Lion King plush. It's like 4 feet long, and I think it sells for, I don't know, $1,200.
I would love to find.
I'm going to walk in and find that one day, and I'm going to find that darn IKEA vase, and I'm going to find, all these things that other people are finding.
Yes, I see some of your sales that you put up in our group, and I just am, what the heck?
Like
and
that
it's just
Linux spice jar collection.
Yes.
People are finding that the whole set.
I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I don't really buy those unless, some of the pieces are selling better, but
right.
I haven't seen the whole set.
Yeah. Dr. Stephen Gittler just posted about, he found that somewhere at a garage sale or Facebook Marketplace or something. He's like, here's a future $100 and over sale. Cause they're ceramic spice jars, but they're in the shape of little houses.
Right.
And the whole complete set can sell for $400.
I know.
So I know I'm just rattling off things, but like these are in my books. And so I remember them.
Yeah, I know. I've got to buy one of your books.
Like the Holy Grail. I should make a book called The Holy Grail of eBay BOLOs, like things that have been high dollar forever.
Well, that's true. There are some things that do not go down in value. It's
because they're not being made anymore.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, well, I'm glad that you ventured into plush.
Yes, I have. I just started tiptoeing in. I just buy little ones now.
I don't think people believe it until it happens to them.
Yeah. Well, I've sold
the Play School Snuzzles cow. I sold that for $225.
Oh, that's
it was
nice.
$1 and sold in one day. And they just paid full asking.
Play School Snuzzles.
It's a little stuffed cow. It's probably 6 inches long. There's different animals.
Wow.
It's a line that Play School did, and they have a plaid material, and then the feet and the hands or whatever are satin. So it's very easy to identify.
Okay.
And they don't make them anymore. And then there's one called Play School Cozies, and it's a waffle weave type material. And my son actually had one of those, so I know what it is, but I'm not selling his. But I found one of those, and I think it sold for $80.
Wow. See, that's what I'd love to sell a plush for like that much money.
It's just nice. Addicting. Once it happens and you start selling some at higher prices, you're convinced that, not even convinced is the right word. You're 100% sure that these things are out there, and it's just any second it can pop up in front of you. I really think I am diverting the gambling gene here by just going to the thrift store and looking for stuff, because you get that high when you find it, and then you list it, and then it sells. It's like multiple highs.
Oh yeah, it is.
When you just get it once, and then your money's gone.
Yeah, it is a high. It is definitely. That's part of why I think I like it, because being home and isolated and stuff, and even more so because it's something that keeps me like going, it's like, wow, this is great. I'm sure people look at me like I'm crazy when I find something good on Goodwill and I get a little excited.
They're just not in our tribe.
No, they're not. Yeah, we get it. And I know people who are sellers too. You can spot them in a Goodwill or wherever. You can spot
and that
them.
Used to bother me way back in the day when I started. I was like, oh, they're going to get all the good stuff, but everybody has their thing they're looking for.
That's it.
you can have all that breakable stuff you want. I'm just not doing it. I'm transitioning away from shoes. I just don't really enjoy that. And so you can have all the shoes. I don't even look at that department anymore. And so many people don't want to do clothes. So I find great stuff, and they'll have the tag on there that has the date it was put out. It's like, this has been here for 5 weeks. This has been here through the dollar day and nobody got it. And so again, I am 100% sure there's always things other sellers are going to leave behind.
Exactly. And I'm not a clothing person. I would love to get into it, but I've not had much luck, and I don't really know it well. But I've done a few things, but never much of anything. And I'm a breakable seller. I enjoy that. And I'm happy to say, and I probably jinx myself, but I've sold, like 15,000 items in my career.
That's
and
excellent.
I've had 2 breaks.
2 breaks.
2 breaks. And I have 100% positive feedback. Always have since the day I started.
You've never gotten a negative?
I've never gotten a negative. I've only gotten a neutral a couple of times. You have to, if you go in and look at me, you see my positive feedback. It's always, I'm really proud of it. I will say that.
Well, I think you have a guardian angel. Because sometimes you just get it out of the blue, and eBay is getting better about removing them if they are undeserved.
Right.
Maybe had a conversation through messaging and you did everything in your power as a seller, refunded them, didn't ask for it back, whatever it is, and they still leave a negative. eBay's getting better about removing those.
Well, that's good to know. I didn't get negatives even from the broken ones.
That's great.
Yeah, I had a fairly recent one that was broken, and I packed it well, and I taped around the box, and she sent me a picture, and the box was completely destroyed. And again, like you say, you can't control that. She just wanted her money back, and I gave it to her without question. And that's what I always do. I'm not one that battles. It's not worth the battle. It's just keep moving forward. It's just going backwards. So,
well, for having sold as long as you have and never gotten a negative, that's really miraculous.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm proud of it. I didn't know I've never had anything to compare it to. So that's nice to hear. But I do get pretty stellar feedback, not just, it was good. You get a few, good, but most of them go like 3 sentences with exclamation points and stuff, because I sell breakables, and I'm really, really, I've learned, I know how to pack this stuff. I mean, to say that it's never going to happen again, I know better than that, but I do everything in my power to make sure it doesn't get broken, and people notice that. I even had one woman say it was open when I got it, but it wasn't broken because the seller packaged it so well, it didn't even break even though the box opened, so I'm really kind of anal about that. That's my thing.
Well, that's a great, really outstanding record. So I congratulate you on that. And
thank you.
Just for the listeners, a lot of times it's just undeserved, out of the blue. You didn't do anything wrong. It's just the buyer's mad, and which is always like, take 24 hours to think about this. And now they have a time limit. You can't leave a negative. I think it's within 7 days of receiving the item. Like, they're forcing you to think about it before you do that, because buyers who don't sell don't realize how important this is to us.
Right.
To have this record. But you're human. Things are going to happen sometimes. It goes up and down, and then you watch your dashboard. When's that going to drop off? So,
oh yeah, I know. Yeah. When I got my neutrals, I was freaking out because that was something different for me. But I know I'm very fortunate, because talking to you, I just never even put it out there, because I figured I'm probably not, it's probably not that unusual if you care, but I do know things can happen. And what I do is, I've had stuff that the person wasn't happy with. I'm more of just, refunding them, unless it's something really expensive. I don't go through, you send it back and I resell it. If it was something expensive, yes. And that pays off in the end. It really does. And that's why I have the feedback I think I have. because I never fight them.
Yeah, if you just handle it quickly and fairly.
Yes.
And a lot of times you can just say, oh my gosh, we're so sorry, we missed that, or whatever the problem is. How would you like to resolve the situation? And get them to say, oh, give me $10 back, or it may still be usable.
Yeah.
And put the ball in their court first and see what they say. And you don't have to just jump into refund mode. Just see what they want. Sometimes they don't want anything. They just want to tell you that you missed something.
Right. Well, there is that. But I get back to people quickly. I don't make them wait. I even have people say, oh my gosh, you got back to me so quickly. I'm not even worried about it. Thank you. You're right. They just want to tell you. And so, yeah, it just pays. And I think working in customer service and stuff, and just I've learned that it doesn't pay to fight back. If it's a customer. The customer's sort of always right. Not always.
And on eBay, they have the last word. So
yeah, that's right.
So it's the little battles and scuffles aren't really worth it. It's like, give them the money back, move on, they'll go away and get back to work.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Okay, well, we're getting to the end here. And so I have 2 more questions.
Okay.
One is a fun question, so we can get to know you. What is your favorite kind of music?
My favorite kind of music is, my favorite band is Fleetwood Mac. And I enjoy all kinds of music, but my favorite female vocalist is Stevie Nicks. And just as a side, I used to sing just for grins, and I sang in a band for a short while, but it wasn't anything popular. But I always wanted to do that, but didn't pursue it. So anybody young out there, pursue your dreams. Don't let them go. That's what I have to say.
Several of my friends saw Stevie Nicks when she was in Atlanta a couple weeks ago, maybe, and she's 74.
I know.
How is she 74?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've been listening to her since I'm 63, so I get it. But it's like, it's crazy.
I love them. I had most of their albums.
Sing.
I have their playlist on Spotify. I have their albums on Spotify, like in my library, and it just never gets old.
No.
I love their music. So we're on the same page there.
And there you go.
Okay. And the next question is, you're juggling full-time job, working at home, doing eBay. Any advice for people that want to do the same thing and feel like they maybe don't have time because of their full-time job? What kind of advice would you give?
I would give advice if you have a full-time job and you want to try out eBay, just start slow. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I started with a giant candle and I lost money on it. Know that you're going to lose money at the beginning. Realize that that's going to happen. And as long as it's, don't, sell lower price items, if you can. I mean, if you get a huge amount, that's great. But take it slow. You don't have to jump in full force right away, and see if it's for you. And if it is for you, you'll find the time is the best advice I can give. Because if you enjoy it and it's bringing in some money that help you pay bills or help you get something that you've always wanted or a vacation, it's worth it. But I would go slowly is my advice. Slowly into it.
Yeah, because eBay's not going anywhere.
No, it's not. That's the thing. You don't have to worry about that.
And it does build over time. So even if you list one item a day, that's something. It wasn't there before.
Right.
And a lot of times items sell as soon as you list them. So
right.
Don't feel like you have to have this gigantic operation. I'm a small seller.
I am.
I do a lot of other things, but I don't think I could only do eBay. I would get bored. Just listing every day. I like to do other things.
Well, that's me. I don't like the listing part is the least fun, but it's the results that are fun. And I agree. But I just say go slow and don't be frustrated that you didn't sell that item in a week. That one item you were able to list or two. It will happen. And that's something I can tell you. It will sell. And,
it takes time. And I'm actually tracking now. I'm doing this little experiment with my sales. How many days or weeks? Well, it's days. It takes for something to sell. And in May, that number was around 50 days.
Okay.
For me.
Right.
So you're working on a pipeline situation where you just keep feeding that pipeline and it's going to come out the other end.
Right.
A win.
Right. It's always surprising. As long as I've been doing it, there'll be days I won't sell for days because I'm a small seller. And then one day I have 4 orders. Boom, boom, boom,
Right.
boom. And I'm like, what? Now
what was the magical trigger that resulted in 4 sales? And we're never going to know that.
We don't know for sure. I find I do usually sell at least something if it's real slow for a while, if I do the sell similar in the item and sell similar. I usually sell something after almost every time I do that. And I don't do it for every item. I do like 10 items, that I do that. And I usually sell something at that point. So that's another, I'm sure you've talked about this, I know.
I know. And it's different for everybody. So
yeah, some people don't. I know not everybody, it doesn't work for everybody, but it's
you just have to track it on your own and see, is this working? So I sold something last week. I ended it and restarted it. And it sold within 24 hours for $100. And it's something I've had almost a year.
Right. It's weird.
And it wasn't promoted listings. It was I just restarted it. And so for my curiosity, I'm convinced that works.
I am too, because I do it regularly and it's something easy to do. I do it on my phone while I'm watching TV. It's not like it takes, you know what I mean? It's not, I don't have to sit at my desk. I can just do it on my phone. And I've had good results from that.
Good.
So,
okay. Well, looks like our time is about up. Thank you again for agreeing to come on, and welcome back to the group. And it's good to see you pop up. I was like,
my pleasure.
Check in with Lisa and see what's going on with her. So you are on my bucket list of places to visit.
Well, come see us.
I think I'm going to work my way up the coast and just eat seafood for 2 weeks because I love it so much.
Oh, if you love seafood, Maryland is definitely a very good seafood spot.
Great. Okay. Well, thanks again. And we'll look for some more of your sales on the Facebook group.
All right. Thank you. Great seeing you.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you again, Lisa, for coming on. And the brand of tie that Lisa was talking about was Hermes. That is spelled Hermes and is pronounced Hermes. It is French. So when you hear people talking about Hermes handbags and ties, you will know how to pronounce it correctly. Okay, today's trivia question. What was the last eating utensil invented that humans still use today? Here's a few seconds to think it over. Okay, we're going to go through the 3 major players of human cutlery in order of when they were invented. First off is knives. Primitive blades date to the Paleolithic period, and by Neolithic times, 5000 to 2000 BC, stone blades were fitted to wooden handles. Metal knives, much like today's, with bolster and tang attaching the handle to the blade, soon followed. Iron knives showed up around 1000 BC. Okay, the second player is spoons. Historians can't determine the exact time the spoon was invented, but archaeologists can point to evidence around 1000 BC of spoons from ancient Egypt made from wood, ivory, flint, and stone, and adorned with hieroglyphics or religious symbols. And finally, the answer to the question, the last player, the fork, is thought to have appeared in Italy around the year 1000 in Venice. In addition to its recorded use as a cutting aid, it is also said to have been used to eat the first pasta. As of the Middle Ages, utensils resembling two-pronged forks were mentioned in several French kings' inventories. Okay, not completely useless information, but something kind of interesting. Okay, that is a wrap for episode 119. Next week, my guest is Suzanne, who sells a lot of toys. I thought she was a grandma with a bunch of grandkids, and so that's how she knows so much about toys. But her knowledge comes from something else. She sells other items too, but I have noticed on the Facebook threads that she posts a lot of toys. Okay, thank you again for tuning in this week and every week, and have a profitable and productive day on eBay while I sit on the beach and do absolutely nothing. Okay, talk to you next week, everybody. Bye.